Is this the absolute end of the line for Bill Hamilton? We have all watched Haley's slow burn poisoning scheme play out over the last few weeks, with a mix of pure horror and undeniable fascination. The opening episode of this week is undoubtedly the most anticipated moment we have been waiting for, as the lethal web Haley has been weaving finally tightens around her unsuspecting husband. If you thought the drama in Fairmont Crest had reached its peak, you are sorely mistaken. The collapse of Bill Hamilton is not just a medical emergency. It is the catalyst for a massive, multi-character explosion that is going to change the landscape of the show forever. Let us rewind for a second and look at the absolute disaster that was the deposition. We all knew Mike Davis was going to walk into that room with unparalleled arrogance, ready to tear Dr. Madison Montgomery apart. But what nobody expected was for Bill, the usually sharp and composed legal shark, to completely lose his mind and physical control. During the recording of Madison's testimony, Bill was visibly furious, but it was more than just anger. He was exhibiting severe, abnormal signs of physical distress. He was stuttering, losing his train of thought, and sweating profusely. The poison in his system was finally reaching a critical mass, turning a high-stakes legal defense into a terrifying medical crisis. The deposition had to be abruptly postponed because Bill's condition became far too severe to ignore. This sudden, shocking collapse is the very moment Haley has been praying for. While everyone else in that room was panicking, Haley was sitting there, putting on the performance of a lifetime. She faked her prayers and acted the part of the devoted, terrified wife, but behind those wide, innocent eyes was the calculating glare of a cold-blooded killer. Bill is immediately rushed to the hospital ER, and the promotional trailer for the upcoming week gives us a chilling glimpse into Haley's true mindset. She meets up with her co-conspirator, Randy Parker, and with a giddy, sinister smirk, she tells him, right now, Bill is probably near death, but here is where the situation gets incredibly risky, and where we need to apply some sharp logic. Haley is in a rush. She wants to accelerate Bill's death, but will Randy actually agree to this reckless? Randy has been the cautious one, the henchman who prefers to stay in the shadows. If Haley decides to speed up the process, she is stepping into highly dangerous territory. What exactly is she going to do to push Bill closer to the grave? Is she going to sneak into his hospital room and inject him with a lethal dose of her special juice? Is she going to tamper with his life support? If she breaks the careful, slow burn pattern they have maintained for so long just to make a bold, impulsive move, she risks exposing everything. Hospitals run toxicology reports. Doctors monitor vitals. If someone walks into that room at the wrong time, Haley's multi-million-dollar insurance scam turns into a first-degree murder charge. This brings us to the most fascinating and tragic collateral damage of Bill's collapse. Dr. Madison Montgomery. Bill's sudden medical emergency impacts Madison on multiple devastating levels. First, she is currently facing a career-ending lawsuit, and Bill was her primary defense. Without him, she is left vulnerable to the vicious tactics of Mike Davis. But more importantly, Chelsea and Naomi are completely blindsided by Bill's incident, and they immediately turn to Madison for answers. They know that Madison is a brilliant doctor, and they are desperately demanding to know what is happening to their father. Here is where the brilliant twist comes into play. What if Madison, with her extensive medical knowledge, starts connecting the dots? Madison knows Bill's baseline health. She knows that a healthy, robust man does not just suddenly lose his cognitive functions and collapse without an underlying synthetic cause. What if Madison walks into Bill's hospital room at the exact moment Haley is trying to finish the job? Imagine the scene. Madison catches Haley unplugging a machine or injecting something into Bill's IV. The shock, the horror, the immediate realization that her girlfriend's stepmother is a murderer. But this is beyond the gates, and nothing is ever that simple. If Madison catches Haley, it sets up the ultimate blackmail scenario. We already know that Mike Davis is holding all the winning cards in Madison's malpractice. What if Mike and Haley form an unholy alliance? If Madison threatens to expose Haley's murder attempt, Haley and Mike could easily counter with a devastating ultimatum. They could offer to completely drop the lawsuit, save Madison's medical license, and secure her future, but only if she stays completely silent about what she saw in Bill's hospital room. Think about the psychological torture this places on Matt. This theory puts her in an impossible, soul-crushing dilemma. If she speaks the truth and exposes Haley, she saves Bill, but she guarantees that Mike Davis will destroy her career, her reputation, and her entire life's work. Furthermore, if she stays quiet to save her own skin, she becomes an accessory to murder. How could she ever look Chelsea in the eyes again, knowing she let Chelsea's father be murdered just to save her own medical license? She would be living a lie, tormented by guilt, and betraying the woman she loves. It is a brilliant, agonizing narrative corner for the writers to back her into, and it proves that this storyline is not just about shock value, it is about deep moral complexity. And just when you think the hospital corridors could not get any more tense, enter Danny Dupree. The upcoming spoilers reveal a massive, explosive screaming match between Danny and Haley. Now, we have to ask ourselves, is this just another petty argument between the ex-wife and the current wife, or is there something much deeper at play? We know that Danny and Bill recently shared a highly passionate secret hookup in an elevator during the tornado. Danny has been drowning in guilt over it, but that intimate encounter also means Danny has been close to Bill recently. She knows his energy, his body, and his mind. When Danny sees Bill lying in a hospital bed fighting for his life, her sharp intuition is going to kick into overdrive. Danny's no fool. She knows Haley is a greedy, manipulative gold digger. The logic here is undeniable. Danny is going to suspect foul play, and her primary suspect is going to be the woman who stands to inherit millions upon his death. The argument between Danny and Haley is not just about jealousy. It is a battle for Bill's survival. During their confrontation, Danny taunts Haley, smugly pointing out that she managed to evoke Bill's primal instincts and that Bill simply cannot forget the life they shared together. Danny hits Haley right where it hurts, claiming that Bill's lingering love for his ex-wife is what truly breaks Haley's heart. Haley tries to laugh it off, but we all know Danny's words cut deep. But let's look at the strategy here. Is Danny just trying to be cruel, or is she deliberately provoking Haley? By keeping Haley distracted, angry, and off balance, Danny might actually be preventing Haley from getting the alone time she desperately needs to finish killing Bill. This entire situation is a masterclass in soap opera storytelling. Every single character's motivation is intertwined. Haley's greed is blinding her to the risks of hospital security. Randy's hesitation might be the weak link that unravels their plot. Madison's career ambitions are clashing violently with her moral compass and her love for Chelsea. And Danny's lingering connection to her ex-husband is transforming her from a guilty cheater into the only person who might actually realize that Bill is being murdered in plain sight. The stakes have truly never been higher in Fairmont Crest. If Bill dies, Haley walks away a very rich, very dangerous widow, and the Hamilton family is shattered forever. If Bill lives, he has to wake up to the horrific reality that the woman he married has been slowly poisoning him for months. And caught in the crossfire are the daughters who just want their father back, and a doctor who might have to sell her soul to the devil to keep her stethoscope. Will Haley's impatience and arrogance finally be her ultimate downfall? Will Randy flip on her when the police inevitably get involved? And most importantly, will Madison Montgomery choose her career over the truth, leaving Bill to die at the hands of a monster? These are the questions that will keep us glued to our screens. The fallout from this collapse is going to be legendary, and I, for one, cannot wait to see who survives the